All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We are going to be talking today about how to make a CRM handbook. But first, we're going to introduce ourselves. We are Amplified Solutions, your real estate operations partners. Um, I'm Chris McDonough, and I'm the COO of Amplified Solutions. And I have a background in real estate. I worked on a team for about a decade. I was a top producing agent. And then I moved on to managing their ISA team. And then I went on to be the broker in charge and vice president. We grew it from about 50 agents. And at its peak, we had about 225 people within the agents, plus our operations staff. So I have a unique view into real estate. And now I work with teams all over North America to help them organize their systems better and do things the way they want to do. And this is Lee. He's our Chief Learning Officer, and he co-founded Amplified Solutions. Lee, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, hello and good afternoon. Yeah, it's afternoon for everybody. Yeah, happy to be on and talk about this. I too have a pretty deep operational background from team to brokerage, all that. And Chris and I are both really passionate about running a better business through operations, whatever that means to people, but a purposeful business, in a ways to grow it. And certainly our topic today, building a CRM handbook, is part of that, having simple, scalable systems that everybody understands. So you're all rowing in the same direction. So yeah, really excited to dive in. This is actually a topic we've done a good bit, and we've got a cool template we're going to share with you. But Chris, yeah, why don't you tell us a bit about why would somebody want to do this? And then we'll dig into how to do it. We'll share our template. You guys can copy our template, make it your own, add your own branding, add all your own info to it. But we will get into that after we tackle a little bit of the why and then get into the how.
I love it. So to answer your question of why would someone want to make a CRM handbook, this isn't something you normally, get excited to do. But by staying organized and efficient, this is absolutely crucial to the success of your business. And having a solid CRM system is a really fantastic way to accomplish this. And as sophisticated and simple as your CRM system can be, if your entire team isn't on board and it isn't rowing the boat in the same direction, it's really just going to lead to chaos. And that chaos doesn't just stay at the top. The leadership is frustrated, the operations staff is frustrated, and the agents get frustrated. And so this core of your business is something that you really build everything on, like your scaffolding. And you want your scaffolding to be really strong and really secure. And you need everyone to be hyper clear on exactly how everything works. And since all of our brains work in different ways, having something to refer to as your total truth, which is how you treat your CRM anyway, that's really something that's very, very important to your business. So that's a why. And one way that we get everyone rowing in the same direction and also invested in they know they're more likely to follow the rules if they understand that why.
They know what they are and they're
Yeah,
written
and they
down.
know what they are and they understand how all the pieces fit together like a puzzle. So like if you told me, "Hey, I need you to clean my car every Saturday," I would probably do it. But also I would do it with a smile on my face if I understood that I needed to clean your car every Saturday because it was going to help us grow the business in this way. Like I need that whole picture. So I'm like, yeah, I understand. This is going to help Lee if I do this.
Yeah,
Is that
actually, it's funny. I'll throw this in real quick. I actually just read an
yeah.
article about this, not related to real estate actually at all, but just investment in your team understanding and rowing in the same direction. The example I read was an NPS score, which is the net promoter. How likely are you to recommend this to a friend? And it was just a quick case study on, when you say the company needs to get their NPS up, people are like, yeah, yeah, whatever. When you're like, hey, it's tied to your performance or it's tied to our wellness as a company, then people go, oh, wow, how do we all row in the same direction so we can do this thing? So,
Mm-hmm.
not dissimilar to our format here, why should we do this? And then the how. Because the why is frankly just to run a better business. You feel it. It's not so much something that's checked boxes or things like that. You feel it. People understand what they're supposed to be doing. It's quite lovely, but it's also a lot of hard work. But we're here to supplement. I also did just drop a link in the chat to our YouTube channel, and I'll drop our blog as well that has a ton of these resources. But we're focused on the handbook today. I'll stay there, but just wanted to throw that in as well, Chris.
I don't want to get too far off topic here, but I like the way you said that it was a feeling. And I thought that feeling is security. Like, if I know that there's rules to point to and hold other people accountable to, that means there's security. And that's going to help you retain your awesome listing coordinator and your top agents, because everybody, if you can grow somewhere, that is security. Okay, back back to the CRM handbook. All right, so help them understand, and you need to understand why you need a handbook for your CRM. So that's going to help you create one. But this having it's going to help you make sure that everybody, your new hires and your seasoned veterans, are all using the same definitions for the stages and the tags and managing of the databases in the same way. You'd be really surprised how many people can take a simple list of stages and that they all use them in completely different ways. Like, what do you mean you put them under contract after they signed by our agency? Oh, well, they signed a contract with me. Well, that's not what I meant when I typed it in there. So being clear really helps you to do that. And if you have grown to the point where you are doing more than one thing. And I know all of you have, because all of you are with Side and you're rock stars. But you're getting to the point where you really want to get out of those gotta minutes. And having a template, having a handbook, that helps them to make sure that when there's a conflict, when they're working things out between themselves, they have a place to go to first instead of knocking on your office door and interrupting the deep work that you're doing to try and grow the entire organization. It helps them to lead one another in that way, which allows you to get more done. And it really just helps to foster this culture of continuous learning and innovation, because if they're involved with the rules at that level and are comfortable in explaining them to each other and teaching each other, they'll start to think, oh, there's a better way to do this. I saw this. So it helps in that too. All right. So now that we've talked about why it's going to benefit you to do this, we're going to share our handbook template, and we're going to talk about what's in it and best practices, and also how to make it your own.
So yeah, because if you don't mind, I'll take it just on the logistics of what you just talked about. This is the template. I'll drop a link in the chat in just a minute. We'll send it out with the recording as well. But this is a Google Doc template, meaning that this is our copy. And what you can do, there's a video here at the top as well. You can click right on this and watch it. But really, all you need to do is click on File, Make a Copy, and that will make a copy of this document that you then own and can edit. So the whole point of this was to make it a template that you can own and edit. So when I share the link, just grab the link that I share, hit make a copy, then you've got your own. We've even got a little placeholder to put your logo in here, or you can just delete that if you don't have or want a logo. Got a simple table of contents. The video also explains how the table of contents works. And then just some quick high level important things in follow boss. Chris, I'll let you go through the details here as we go. But I just wanted to cover that real quick, and I'll drop the link in the chat right now too.
All right, good. So let's talk about the total approach to this. You need to try to clearly explain all of the processes, your best practices, your tips, all of the things that you want your people to do, that's going to help you harness the full power of your CRM. So, no detail is too small. And I want to preface most of this by saying, don't do this in one sitting. This is not you going, you know what, I'm going to take a day off and make a CRM handbook. No, you won't. You,
That's also why we made a template, so you don't have to make
yes,
it from zero.
you have a starting point. And I want you to chip away at this. You know, every time an agent asks you a question, answer them and then document the answer to that question here and train them to refer to this first. Hey, if you don't see the answer to your question in here, let me know and I'll get it in there, or someone on my team will get in there for you. That's the best way to build this is take an afternoon or however long you want and fill in what you can and then continue to add to it over the time. I don't want you to see this as a set it and forget it type scenario.
They're also in very short chapters or sections. So, like almost all things we do, it's somewhat chronological. There's a logic to that. So, if you were going to eat the elephant and do this, I would recommend just going down the dock in order because there is a logic to the order. Part of that being that stages really drive a lot of this. And to Chris's earlier point, one of the other things that people used to always ask me why I always shared what we did or why I would go speak at an event and whatever. I said, every time I explain it, I either get a question or a new idea or maybe a better way to do it. So, again, to Chris's point, this is a little bit iterative, but just sitting down and thinking to yourself, what are these definitions? These are decent definitions that we have on some stages that we recommend. If you're a Zillow Flex person, you're going to have different stages that you would want to have aligned here. You may have your own custom stages you want to use. We're not saying these are the stages and the definitions, but again, it's a good leg up. If you really are like, I have no idea, this is a workable system. But the idea is here, like Chris said, being clear on this. We have some people that say, hey, we would leave them in lead forever until, they buy or die, which is an okay strategy if that's your strategy. I
Right.
personally don't recommend that. I think get people out of lead should be always be the thing. You should always have 20 leads at most, even if you're a big company. Just get them out of lead, get them into hot, get them into nurture. But everybody's a little different. Does nurture mean we're going to dump them in there and drip on them for a bit? Are we going to put them in a pond? Like there's a lot of pieces to this. But again, our goal is to help you at least have some basic ideas of these stages and ways to define them so they make sense. Signed agreements did this. They are unresponsive. They are 3 to 6 months from transacting. Being really clear with this, so to Chris's point, everybody's marching in the same direction. They all have the same understanding of how they should be using these stages. It's hard enough to get them to change it. So let's define it so that we can get them to update them.
Exactly. And having the right amount of stages, you don't want too few because there's can be overlapping information and having too many is confusing. But I agree with you on getting it out of the lead stage because it gives you a little win. Like, oh, I feel like I'm accomplishing something instead of going all the way from lead to ratified or lead to close or whatever. So, all right.
So we got stages, and again, some definitions that you can modify, but they're not terrible. Listing your smart list is also a really good thing, especially the smart list you expect your agents to work. Again, another really powerful tool to say, hey, here's the 3 we really want you to check every day. Here's the 5 we want you to check every week. Anything to that effect. You'll see at the bottom, there's a little bit of a task list, kind of a daily, weekly type thing. But just again, important to define these. What is leads daily? Does that mean call them every day? Does it mean call them every 3 hours? What do you do when you get them on the phone? See stage definitions. So just clarifying again, this isn't a list of all of the smart lists you have in your entire account. It's more a function of, hey, agents, here's the 4 or 5 smart lists that we're really focused on and why. These are the
Mhm.
hot people. These are your active clients you need to check in. Here's the new leads. Here's some prospecting people. Just differentiating that so people have clear guidelines to follow. And for the automations in marketing, it's funny. I actually brought this up at an event a long time ago, and I saw a lot of light bulbs go off for people. Um, to me, I think this is really smart to have. Again, how does it affect the agent? If you have a company newsletter and people need to get a tag added to do that or a tag removed if they say they don't want to be on it, that should be listed here. If you're going to, when you change the stage to nurture, if that's going to trigger an action plan, that should be mentioned here. So again, the really simple thing. The other thing, I know this isn't super heartening, but I'll say it. It's always harder to get your existing people to get on board with something new. Another thing that's really fantastic about documenting this, now when you bring on new people, they're going to start with this and they're going to be more apt to follow the plan because they're coming on into this plan. And then
Yes.
the people who've been around for a while are like, hey, why are they getting all the good leads or why are they doing all the stuff? And you'll say, because
They're
they're following the
following
plan
through.
and calling their smart lists and using their stages right. So it's not always about reining in your existing team. Sometimes it's just about moving forward, having clarity, maybe every year around first of the year or fall market or whatever makes sense. You kind of review this with everybody. But again, we're not pretending you're going to fill this out and email it to your team and everybody's going to be like, sweet, we got it.
And also, having a collaborative approach to this, have your listing manager draft up what they think the rules are. You might learn something, but more importantly, you you're going to get them involved. So instead of presenting this and being like, ta-da, here's all the stuff you have to do, they are involved with creating the community around your CRM. And this can not only stick with your CRM, add other things to it.
Right.
Your lead, Lee said this earlier, your lead flow. How do you want your leads managed? From soup to nuts, when a lead comes in, what experience do you want them to have? Are, this type of thing helps ensure that as a team, you can feel confident that no matter who gets that lead, they're going to know exactly what to do with it. And that leads knowing exactly what to do and what to say is going to give your people a lot of confidence.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just truck through a couple of these because they're either super self-explanatory or going to be very custom to your setup. But deals, again, simply a representation of what are your deal pipelines and your deal stages. But again, these can trigger actions. Are the agents doing this or does the TC do it? Like things like that, just being clear. Hey, we want to have a pre-appointment deal made. And then when we have the appointment, we want to be able to say, hey, did we win or lose this appointment? Things like that. However, your boards are structured, you would want to have that here. And certainly, again, add some detail. Pending means signed agreement has been turned into the office. Again, real clarity around not, hey, they signed it and I changed the stage. Like, no, you've turned in the paperwork. Now they can be moved to pending or ratified or under contract or whatever that is. So again, super simple, but just congruence. And the bigger, I'll go back, I've been out of this for a minute, but I've always used a boat analogy for this a lot. The bigger your boat is, the simpler this has to be because the more people have to remember it, the more people that are potentially touching the same contacts, the more clear it needs to be and more simple. So the other thing that I always say a lot, and I know obviously with you guys as side partners, you're going to be a slightly bigger team anyway, regardless. But if you are smaller now and you're building, this is the best time to do this now, not when you've got 7 agents onboarding and you're like, oh crap, what does that stage mean? Do it now and you may have a little more time to focus on it, even if it's a little aspirational. I can't tell how many people I've worked with that are like, oh no, we have a new agent coming on tomorrow. I'm like, remember that handbook we did? Remember the onboarding checklist we did? Remember the other thing we did? You're good. And they're like, oh right, I forgot about that. So and then ponds, if you're using ponds, put this in here. What are they? Are these old leads? Are these brand new leads that just came in? Somebody needs to claim them ASAP. just defining that. And then, like I mentioned before, the daily workflow, just something simple like, hey, don't forget to check your tasks, check in on, smart lists 1 through 5, and, see if you have any appointments tomorrow you need to prep for. Again, super simple, just written. These are our expectations.
Mhm.
And then if there's anything specific on company leads, whether it's, policy around that or who can claim it or we can take it back if you don't contact them for 20 hours, like whatever that thing is, that would go there. The rest of this is pretty evergreen. It's just some real basic, um, here's how you do some things in Follow Up Boss. We want to include that obviously in the handbook. And then again, just some high level tips for people that they may not know. Another thing we're a big fan of doing is putting an updated date down here because sometimes you get versions as you go and you do it. So you'll probably want to have some sort of timestamp for like, oh yeah, this is the most recent one. This is the one that was updated February 2025, just so you're all working in the same space. And then of course, I'm sure you're all familiar with Google Docs. As Chris mentioned before, easy enough to collaborate with other people in your organization or make it view only for agents or whatever that is, which I would highly recommend.
Same. Another couple of things that I would recommend with doing this is don't assume that everyone's going to understand your description of something. So when you're talking about how to do something or whatever, go into as much detail as you can and likely more than you think is necessary. So put in those screenshots with the click here and circle it. Link to a quick video tutorial. If it's something that that people commonly have questions about in your organization, and it's a longer description than people can handle to read, click to a quick video.
Yep.
And that will, like in the top of this, hey, if you don't know how to do this, how many times did we get asked that question before we before we do this? So
I don't know why I'm in the wrong YouTube account. I was going to attempt to show
I know,
that
I was like, Lee,
YouTube.
what are we doing?
I have no idea. I have no idea what's happening.
Okay, so
So my
if
point is,
it
I was just going to share a couple of quick. We've got I don't know what's happening. I don't know how to work YouTube anymore. We have a YouTube channel, as does Follow a Boss. I'll click on theirs because it's right here. That also has a ton of these videos already for you that you can potentially implement in some of this. In particular, Follow a Boss has quick tips. I'll drop a link to this. Quick tip videos that are excellent to use for training with your team because they're super short videos of what does this thing do. So again, this is definitely about working smarter, not harder. You don't have to make 500 videos. I guarantee you, if you search on YouTube, us or Follow Up Boss has a video on it. If we don't, message us on YouTube and we'll make a video on it. But again, this isn't about figuring out all the things. It's just aggregating resources
Mhm.
that should be
Yep,
useful to you. I'll drop a link.
absolutely. Lee, will you grab that link
Yes.
and kick it in our little agenda here? And I'll send it out with the recording on this so everybody
We'll do
gets it.
both. I'll drop in the chat right now.
Save you a step. Okay, so make sure you're going into as much detail as you possibly can. Provide those videos, provide those other things. And with every change that you make, so if you get a new lead source, if you get a new tool that you're integrating with, make it a regular practice to, when you're onboarding anything to your organization, make part of your checklist for onboarding new things. And yes, you probably need to do that. To add it to your handbook, whatever you've decided to name your handbook. So that way you don't have to sit down once a year and think, well, what what all did we need to add to the handbook? You're working on it all the time. So that's really good. Another best practice is to make it one live document. What you don't want is for Lee to have a different copy than Joey and me to have the master copy that no one seems to be able to access. So make one live document And then, like Lee said, the people who need to edit the document change their access so they can edit and make everyone else view only. Because if you don't, oh, and ask your team to bookmark it, make that part of their onboarding. Bookmark this, go there anytime you have a question. Go
One
there
pro
for,
tip, if I dare to jump in with this, with our
yeah.
clients, we use Google Sites for this a
Mhm.
lot of times.
Yes.
Really good, like internal intranet type of system. And something like this is the ultimate perfect, like, here's home base. Everybody go here and find this. The other thing, sorry, Chris, is I'm going a little off
You're
script here,
fine now.
because it's Tuesday.
It's too.
The other thing is a lot of people will obviously incorporate something like this into their agreement and just say, hey, I agree to abide by the policies in the handbook or to follow the things in the handbook, especially when it starts now to come to compliance and texting compliance and all these things that can
Yes,
damage your reputation, both digitally and otherwise. Things you're going to want to be able to, be out in front of. So
absolutely. Yeah. I think that's all my best practices on it. I'm glad
cool.
you
Yeah,
said the thing about them signing it because that is important, especially with the communications and if you're the broker in charge and you're legally responsible for people, you gotta protect your organization.
totally. Yeah, no, I think now more than ever, certainly doing that makes really, really good sense. And again, it's just a good CYA for you as a leader to say, hey, we told them they weren't supposed to do that, but it's not on you as much. Obviously consult, local
Yes.
state laws, attorneys, all that good stuff. And I did just drop one more link because we have a site. It's linked in some of the other links as well, but with a lot of other templates similar to this. There's an onboarding template. In fact, there's a whole section on onboarding, all that. We wanted to focus on CRM Handbook today, but this is our lane, and we wanted to share that. So.
Well, good. I love it.
Perfect. Well, I'll hop in real quick. I'm going to throw in one more thing and give you one pro tip to start doing this. Again, we know nobody got into real estate to sit and write a manual, which partly is why we've created a template. But we also working with people for 10 years or so in this consulting capacity. The people that have it run more smoothly than the people that don't have it. And one of my favorite things is you don't even need a good plan, you just need a plan. So just have an okay handbook for now. Don't obsess over it for 3 months and then it never sees the light of day. Get something out the door, even if it's just got core basic stuff. To Chris's point, you're going to iterate on it anyway. I'm just going to mention this. I'm not even going to share my screen on it. We also have a new app. It's called Smart List Zero that helps you manage and maintain your Follow Up Boss Smart List. I'll drop a link to it now. Didn't want it to be a distraction here, and we'll send you a link to check it out as well with the recording. There is some special founders pricing right now for the first people to sign up. So we'll make sure we include that link, but I don't want to distract us from our CRM handbook topic at hand. So, but really appreciate you guys being on, and Chris, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the way that you were talking about having the handbook being something that you can really grow and scale around. And to your point about getting something out, get whatever your thoughts are out and then ask them, what else do you think should be in here?
Right.
Because kind of like what we were talking about earlier, you might think these things are important, but your agents think these things are important. So, and it'll have that other great side effect of them being really invested in making it good. So, wanted to share 1 minute about who we are at Amplified Solutions. Our clients come to us to help set up or improve systems within their follow-up boss accounts. And we help their agents understand what they need to be doing it, how to do it, and we monitor the leads within their database and how they're worked. So we're an extension, we're your real estate operations partner. So we overhaul your system with our proven method we use with all our clients across North America. We train your team, we provide you with written handbooks, guides, SOPs, and then we hook you up with an account manager who oversees the leads within your account and nudges the agents to make sure we're keeping data integrity really high and converting more leads into transactions. And you get new Smart List Zero for free. So if you want to learn more about Amplified Solutions, go to our website, amplifiedsolutions.com. We'll do a free assessment on your Follow Up Boss account, give you an in-depth view, and then we'll send you a ton of these free resources because we love our real estate community and we want you to do well. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great day.